Hey up, guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm trying out a new kind of format, and today we'll be talking about my expectations for J.J. Watt and the Cardinals in the 2021 season. If you do enjoy this video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. My link tree is in the description, it has all my socials. So, if you do want to see more from me and all my social media, my Twitter, my Twitch, my TikTok, anything, my Instagram, my Snapchat, go click the link tree, it links right to my accounts. And let's get into this video. As you may know, J.J. Watt signed a 2-year, $31 million contract with 22 million fully guaranteed over the next 2 seasons with the Cardinals. He said his main reason for signing was because he believes in Kyler Murray. The problem is, I believe in Kyler Murray. I don't believe in Cliff Kingsbury. He's a coach that is had in college had a sub 500 record with Patrick Mahomes and other quarterbacks that are in the league at Texas Tech. But the fact that you can go sub 500 with a young Patrick Mahomes is a little bit of a problem. Obviously, he's in that. They went 8-8 this season after a major collapse midway through the season. They were, I believe, 6-2 at one point. They then went on a 2-6 run. If I believe that's what it was. But I know they were well above 500, and then they just started slipping and slipping, and then they ended up being 500. Um, the sign of J.J. Watt indicates to me that they're ready to win now, especially with Kyler Murray on his rookie contract. Um, the problem is, do we believe that the signing of J.J. Watt is indication that not only are they be moving forward this season, but moving forward so far to where we think they're in Super Bowl contention? And that's where the question really does lie. But let's go over J.J. Watt and his career and, just the last season and see what he's actually done. And also not just him, the Houston Texans, and comparing, J.J. Watt's best season, is it comparable to this Cardinals defense alongside the Houston Texans defense when he had his best seasons in Houston? So J.J. Watt led the league in sacks twice during his 10-year career. He led the league in tackles for losses 3 times, and he led the league in forced fumbles 1 time. He's only played 16 games twice since 2016, which could be an injury problem, but the seasons that he did play, he was very good production, especially in 2020 when he was really the only premier pass rusher outside of maybe a little bit of Whitney Merciless, maybe a little bit of Zach Cunningham. But when you become on the defensive line, he was the only major threat. So he's being double and triple teamed a lot of chip blocks by running backs and tight ends. So while yes, he had a down season in 2021 with only 5 sacks, you gotta put it in comparison to not only was he aging and he had no help on the defensive line, he was being double and triple teamed with chip blocks from tight ends and running backs, and being heavily focused by the entire pass protection package. Is saying, how do we shut down J.J. Watt and leave the backup defensive end on the other side of him, 1-on-1, Ross Blacklock in the middle, 1-on-1, just trying to figure out how they can maneuver that offensive line to really just stop J.J. Watt in his tracks. At one point in his career, he was seen as not just the best defensive player in the league, but the best player in general in the league, which is very, very good. I mean, Peyton Manning was in the league, Tom Brady was in the league, Big Ben Roethlisberger at one point was seen as a top 2 quarterback. There was a lot of players on the offense, especially, that you could argue were better at their respective position. But J.J. Watt was just a beast in his own. At one point, he was really seen as the best defensive player in all of history of the NFL. He was on that career trajectory. Sadly because of injuries and just because the Texans never really went anywhere in the playoffs. He's never really gonna be seen as that. He can play any part of the defensive line, whether that's defensive end, nose tackle, D tackle, stand up, rusher. Maybe not anymore, but definitely, earlier in his career, he could be a stand up rusher. But I think he's definitely more of a 3 technique. Definitely could swing out to defensive end because what the Texans mainly did was keep him at defensive end. Since he was drafted in 2011, the Texans have only had a top 10 defense 5 times. In 2011, they were number 2 his rookie season. In 2012, they were number 7, which is where he went for 20 sacks. In 2013, they were the 7th ranked. In 2016, they were the number 1 ranked. And in 2015, they were number 3 ranked. So in 2016, they really did peak at the number 1 defense, and that's sadly when he was injured. So, you could say, will this Texas defense be able to do something without J.J. Watt? Obviously, I'd say no. But, the one season that he did not play, they had the number 1 ranked, which could be, instead of a indication that J.J. Watt wasn't good, or it was already, decline at that point, I think it's more about that secondary really was good with Kareem Jackson and a couple more veteran. They had Jonathan Joseph towards the end of his career. They had a really good secondary and linebacker core. I think the pass rush was decent, but it definitely wasn't, at the peak with Antonio Smith. So I'm gonna be going through each season and like what people he had to play with, notable notable pass rushers that played with him that season, and they compare to what the Cardinals even have this season. So in 2011, Antonio Smith had 6.5 sacks. Brooks Reed had 6 at outside linebacker. So besides that, there was not much help at outside linebacker. Obviously, in 2011 is when J.J. Watt, I believe, had 7 sacks. So Antonio Smith actually made the Pro Bowl that season, and so I'd say 2011 is definitely probably when he had his best running mate at pass rusher. Especially the group they had with Brooks Reed and Antonio Smith. In 2012, Watt had 20 sacks while Antonio Smith had 7, and Antonio Smith continued to be solid towards the tail end of his career. I believe this is the exact, I think this was the last season of Antonio Smith, and the fact that in 2012 they were able to have the 7th ranked defense with a very old Antonio Smith is very good in my eyes. In 2013, Watt had 10 sacks, and Whitney Merciless came into the scene to replace Antonio Smith. This is when Whitney Merciless really stepped up. It was either his rookie year or his second year in the league with Whitney Merciless, and he was able to step up and help J.J. Watt with the replacement of Antonio Smith. In 2015, J.J. Watt had 17 sacks and Merciless had 12. Now this is the peak in my eyes of Watt with the Houston Texans. Yes, at one point J.J. Watt had 20 and a half sacks, but that was really on solo production. I think team-wide, 2015, yes, in 2016 they had the number 1 defense, but I think 2015 was J.J. Watt's peak performance, because not only did he, have less sacks and less tackles, or less QB hits, it just seems like he played more in the system, wasn't, carrying the team on his back, which I think is, yes, you can say his peak performance was 2012 with 20 sacks and 40 tackles for loss. I think when you play more in the system, that's the peak of the defense. Whitney Merciless had 12 sacks, which was the peak of his career. The Texans defense at number 1, Jay Clowney, this was his second season. He finally came onto the scene after being, a first-round pick the year before, had 4.5 sacks. In 2016, J.J. Watt missed most of the season, but Texans had the number 3 defense. There was no big production, but solid all around. No one really had, 15 sacks to carry that defense. It was more spread out. Everyone had 8, everyone had 7, 6, but it was well rounded around the entire defense. So I think that's what's important as well, is that in 2016 it wasn't that one player exploded, had a breakout season because J.J. Watt was injured. It was more of the defense was able to play as one and play as a whole and really have a lockdown season that year. Now, we just went over all of J.J. Watt's career with the Houston Texans. Let's now look at the 2021 Arizona Cardinals. Chandler Jones. He's an elite pass rusher, and he's definitely the closest talent that J.J. Watt has had, opposite of him. Besides, I would say Antonio Smith for 2 seasons, but I would say Chandler Jones is far better than Antonio Smith. They could tag Hassan Reddick. In 2020, he had 12.5 sacks. One game with the Giants, I believe he had 5 sacks himself. They could tag Hassan Reddick, because I don't think they'll be able to get a long-term contract with him, just because, that's just the money that they need to lay out and, save for other, veteran members. Isaiah Simmons can learn a lot still. He really didn't play the first half of the season. I'd say that overtime win against the Seahawks is when Isaiah Simmons finally started to realize, he could be good in the NFL, and that the defensive coordinator started to learn how to use him properly. So I think Isaiah Simmons, having someone like J.J. Watt to, he can just watch him and become a better player. His work ethic, his drive, his passion for winning, just the game of football, I think Isaiah Simmons can learn a lot from. And J.J. Watt, going back to him, Budda Baker obviously in the secondary is locked down, but J.J. Watt has never really had a Chandler Jones type of talent next to him. I would say, again, Antonio Smith is probably the closest option that he's had opposite of him, but J.J. Watt has never had a Chandler Jones type of pass rusher, So I'm really excited to see what those two together can do. Obviously Arizona, it's hot weather. He's gonna make a lot of money in the next 2 years. Maybe win he's going out for a championship as well. The new town could rejuvenate him in his career. I do have a couple questions, and I've also seen questions on Twitter about, just the Cardinals in the next season and J.J. Watt in general in free agency. So I'm going to run them down and put them on the screen right now. Does this defensive coaching staff have the intelligence to use him on the D-line right? Now, yes, you could easily say, yeah, obviously, you just plug him in at defensive end, boom, you're good. The problem is, J.J. Watt is going to command a lot of, protection by the offensive line. So can you scheme up Chandler Jones to pass rush when needed? Can you scheme up Isaiah Simmons to come off a blitz when because they have him scheduled? They have him on the depth chart as a strong safety. Again, Isaiah Simmons is a safety, linebacker, defensive pass rusher, mixture of all three of those positions. He could play corner if he wanted to. He's an athletic freak. So I think you could definitely have him as a standing up pass rusher and have a lot of success with him in that system. So the question is, are they going to be able to use all that talent correctly and have it culminate into what they hope is a top 10 defense this season? And I think I'm not going to question them too hardly because again, it's going to be interesting to see what they do. I think we definitely have to wait a couple weeks into the season. Definitely not week 1. I say week 7 is when we're finally going to see the full defensive packages that they have with J.J. Watt and Chandler Jones and Isaiah Simmons, Budda Baker, Hassan Reddick if they franchise tag him, and they re-sign Pat Pete. I think it's going to be very interesting. Byron Murphy at corner. I do want to wait until around week 7 to actually give my judgment on it. So yes, I'm making this video for questions, but probably week 7, I'm going to put a reminder on my phone that I'm going to make a update video to my expectations for this season. The next question is, with an indication of Isaiah Simmons, are they going to be... the next question is, with JJ... The next question is, they didn't use Isaiah Simmons correctly. How can we trust they use JJ Watt correctly? I think JJ Watt is not only going to command respect in the locker room, but also respect throughout the coaching staff. I think he could easily have, like, a sit-down lunch with the defensive coordinator and be like, hey, man, this is how this is how I'm being used. It's not working. We need to try something else. I think he has the respect in that coaching staff to have influence over some things. I think saying, hey, Isaiah Simmons, he's really good at pass rushing. We need to get more packages with him pass rushing. I think they'll be able to sit down and listen to him just because of his veteran presence and his career accolades. He's a future Hall of Famer who wants to win. And I think his expertise is needed and wanted in that locker room and coaching staff, hopefully. So I think they'll use him correctly. Just because of him saying, I want to be used correctly. Does the signing of J.J. Watt really make the Cardinals contenders? I say no. I think they're still a year away. I think the second year of his contract is going to be their best option. I think they're going to spend big money this year, and in the draft, whether it's this year or next year, they're going to be trading a lot of picks to get the players that they need. Remember, it's a salary cap league. There's going to be a lot of, veteran people becoming, open for trades and cuts. Stefan Gilmore is being rumored to be traded. It's a guarantee he's going to be traded this offseason. And from the reports I'm now seeing is that a lot of people are saying they predict it's going to be around a 3rd round pick to get Stefan Gilmore. The Cardinals have the money. I'm not going to say it's going to happen, but if the Cardinals are rumored to be in the game for Stefan Gilmore, I'm not going to be surprised. So I think the J.J. Watt signing indicates more that the veterans will want to go there because they say J.J. Watt is there. Chandler Jones is there. Budda Baker is there. Isaiah Simmons is there. Byron Murphy is there. That defense is becoming something special. And not only is the defense there, Kyler Murray is there. He's a winning quarterback. He's a versatile, really athletic guy who is young on his rookie contract wanting to win. So I think that is more of an indication that they're going to be contenders next year. I don't think they'll be contenders in 21. They're a playoff team. I don't think they're Super Bowl contenders. I think 2022 is going to be their ideal year. I think that's the year where they go all in, draft picks for players, signing players, trading for players. That's the year I think they should go in heavily. I think this year should be a test run with J.J. Watt, with that defense. Do they need a new defensive coordinator in the 2022 season? Do they need a new offensive coordinator in the 2022 season? I think this next season needs to be a test run. I would definitely have them in the playoffs. It's just depending on, is the staff going to be competent enough to do what they need to do to win? Does the Watt signing show other vets they want to win this year or next year? I think it does. I think this is more an indication with the J.J. Watt signing is that the Cardinals now become a premier spot for players to, sign 1-year contracts and try and win because now that defense is stacked. That offense is evolving, rapidly. They still need another elite wide receiver. I think every NFL team needs 2 elite wide receivers. I think every NFL team needs 2 elite wide receivers and a versatile slot receiver. So they definitely still need another wide receiver. I think they need a better offensive line and running back. This team is definitely still evolving, but I think the signing shows that they want to evolve quickly and evolve to a point where they can win a Super Bowl. So yeah, I think it does show the vets that they wanted to win this year or next year. Now, the biggest questions, in my opinion, are can they compete with the Green Bay Packers, the Bucks, or the Rams? And can they even win their own division? I don't know. I wouldn't have them winning their division. The 49ers are going to come back healthy next season. The Rams with Matt Stafford, I'm very excited about. That's another video coming out soon, is, the Matt Stafford and Jared Goff trade, what it means for both teams. I don't know if they can. I wouldn't say that. I don't. Again, in my opinion, the 2021 season is a test run. It's a test run for the coordinators and the coaching staff. It's a test run for that defense. Do they need to add more pieces? Do they need to move off some certain pieces? What draft capital do they need to put into that defense still for the 2022 season to really go for that Super Bowl? So this season, I would say no. They cannot compete with the Packers, Bucks, or Rams. I would have them in the Final Four though. I'm not scared to say that they're probably going to be in the Final Four of NFC, meaning they're going to make it to the divisional round. I'm not scared to say that. I think that is more likely than anything, that they make it to the divisional rounds. I wouldn't say they make it to the conference championship or the Super Bowl. I think their ceiling is the divisional round, and anything outside the playoffs would be a massive disappointment of a season. So no, I don't think they can compete with the Packers, Bucks, or Rams. Just on personnel and coaching wise. And especially they cannot win their own division. I think they have to make it as the 6th or 7th seed, just to have a chance. And I only say that because the Seahawks, depending on what they do with Russell Wilson, they're always gonna make the playoffs. They've made it 8 out of the 9, not 8 or 9 or 9 out of 10 seed. They've only missed the playoffs once with Russell Wilson. I don't think they'll ever miss I don't think again they'll miss the playoffs with Russell Wilson. The question is he gonna stay? Is he gonna be the day one starter in 2021? I don't know yet. We don't know yet. There's a lot of rumors coming out of the Russell Wilson camp that they are, no one is happy. Like, no one on either side is happy with the situation right now. So, will he be there in 2021? I genuinely don't know. The 49ers are going to be back and healthy. I would have them probably as the top team right now. Or the Rams with Matt Stafford. I'd love to see what their draft is. I still think they're missing a couple pieces on defense. Yes, they had one of the greatest defenses in NFL history. The question is, can you get sufficient help for Aaron Donald? Can you re-sign John Johnson III at safety? Can you somehow get another corner next to Jalen Ramsey that can be, your second guy that can lock down, the second receiver? It's just a big question mark. I think they're probably going to be the third placement in their division. I don't know. There's a chance they could be the bottom of the division. There's a very high chance that all 4 teams stay how they are or get better. Russ stays in Seattle. Matt Stafford and the Rams explode with talent and on the field, and the 49ers get back healthy and are the exact same as they were in 2019. So I think yes, that was a 2-part question. Can the Cardinals beat the Green Bay Packers and the Tampa Bay Bucks? Can they beat their own division to get to the divisional round to face off against these the teams that are 100% being mocked to go to the Super Bowl? Can they even compete to get to that level? Can they even beat their own division, beat, the teams during the regular season that are going to be tough to get to that point to have a chance to the Super Bowl? And I'd say no. I don't think they can. I think this is definitely going to be a test season, as I keep saying. See what the coaching staff can offer you. See what certain players can offer you. And yeah, that's their cap for the 2021 season. I think 2022 is definitely the best year for them to go all in. But, obviously, I'm just a guy on a chair. I'm not in the front office. I'm not on the field as the Cardinals. Again, I love Kyler Murray. I love J.J. Watt. I love that defense. I love Budda Baker. He's such a good safety. So, if you guys did enjoy, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Comment down below, JJ got a payday. And if you do, I'll leave you a heart. Thank you for watching. If you did enjoy, subscribe. Hit that notification bell to be updated on my next videos. My link tree is in the description with all my social media. Everything I post on. Go to that. I'll see you later. Peace. Bye.